Hello there, Bailey here, and I'm here doing a commentary on my thoughts on the Spirit Chronicles video. For context, I haven't seen any video that I had an issue with, and I'm on a fence on covering a certain anime. I remember my Spirit Chronicles video was complete trash, and I didn't feel like remastering it, so here we are. Before we get into anything, I'm going to be referring to myself as a separate person for this because I feel it would be more entertaining if it felt like I was talking to someone else. And I'll put a number in the corner to confirm who's talking, and also spoilers to Spirit Chronicles. We good? Good. Anyways, I'm back with a video, and it's about an anime. Yes, I got into anime. Oh no, your video has been trapped in a black box, and it's all Kindmaster's fault. Those fiends! And they're also making you stand on that thin white platform. The horror, the unfabulousness. This is Spirit Chronicles we are talking about today. Basically, a guy died in a train accident on a bus apparently. And he gets reincarnated as a human named Rio in a fantasy land. Your basic isekai anime. But there's a lot of stuff that happens which kind of makes it stand out and kind of makes me mildly disappointed in some things that could have happened, but all around, a decent anime. First off, oh no, the platform has turned black! What the heck is happening? Secondly, please take some retakes, or do some cutting because this section kinda dragged on due to your stuttering or long pauses. The warnings first, before we get into all that. First off, spoiler warning, of course, because I'm going to be talking about the series, meaning that there are going to be spoilers. So watch the series before this video if you feel like you wanted some context. Second off, the editing in this video is not going to be the best because I just started and decided not to watch the tutorial, so yeah, brace yourself for that. And B, I won't be including the manga because I feel the anime should tell me any essential information that would have been in the manga. With that all the way, let's get into this. We'll be getting into something, but not what you think. First off, why didn't you watch the tutorial before this? It's not like you promised anyone you would do this anytime soon. And secondly, not everyone's going to think you'll mention the manga of this anime. So you saying you won't be talking about it seems pointless. We'll be skipping the good things sections because aside from some stuttering and pauses, it's not the worst thing ever. When people talk about something bad about this anime, it's mostly about the pacing or any stiff animations. My problem personally are more with the characters. 3 to be precise. Charles, Flora, and Kirito. Sorry, I mean Rio. Why does everyone except Charles have a white border around them? If you couldn't find individual images of them without this, then just use scenes from the anime. You got the footage. Let's talk about Charles first. Charles Arbor was supposed to be the main guy who we were supposed to be mad at for being real for a crime he didn't commit, and later trying to marry Syria through blackmailing her house. This would lead you to believe that he is the mind of Spirit Chronicles, which is not the case. These two are on different levels in mind's favor. And nope. Firstly, explain what you mean by a mind, because not everyone has watched Shield Hero, so they may not know what you're talking about. Secondly, how are they similar in that regard? Mine betrayed now for me as opposed to Charles, who was always openly discriminative of Rio. Wait a minute. This is from your footage. How did you miss a key piece of evidence that disproves your point? Favor. Mine accused nothing of assaulting her, because the king didn't like the shield hero, as well as the state, and the other heroes did not know Naofumi well. These are good reasons, because all parties could have thought Naofumi was a bad person before this. While Charles' reasons were basically Rio was the only suspect, and catching the crook would save some faith for himself. First off, even if you do catch the kidnapper, I don't think the king would overlook the fact that Rio's a child that, to their knowledge, do not know how to use magic. So I would not be surprised if the king reacted in any way other than anger that the vice captain let his daughter get kidnapped by a mere child. And they want me to believe this is the same guy who helped put an end to a war and blackmailed a famous house into working for him? Yeah, right. Charles could have been a better character than just another cliche dumb noble who looks down on common folk just because. And this could have been a good video if the production wasn't so bad. Let's go down the list, shall we? First off, why do we now have a scene, an image with no white background, and an image with white background? Then on top of that, this thumbs up with a white background all over the screen. Maybe you should have watched that editing video, huh? Not to mention, you suddenly bombarded us with this image of Child Rio filling the screen for a solid 5 seconds. I mean this like, why'd you put this in the middle of this comic skit thing? Like, why? It just kind of cuts off its flow. You couldn't just have Rio like in a thought bubble or something? Also, let's not forget that point you made because, oh boy, that's a bad one. They were in completely different circumstances. Of course, their reasoning will be different, and depending on the situation, worse or better. Now let's go down the actual reasons why these guys tried to make a protagonist a social pariah. Mine basically betrayed Naofumi for the heck of it. Well, you literally show Charles' reasons were that Rio was the only suspect, and it would save faith if he caught the criminal. Well, you see, mine literally had nothing to gain for betraying Naofumi. Compare that to Charles, where his little social image was at stake. Well, yes, you did say Rio's a child and the king probably would not buy it. That is just a theory. There's nothing saying that Rio being a child may not play a factor in whether or not the king would believe that he had some involvement in kidnapping his daughter. And if there is, you don't present any of it. Cliche dumb noble who looks down on common folk just because. Someone in Charles' situation should not be trying to prove Rio is guilty. He should be trying to prove his innocence. Not these. For those of you who haven't seen the original video, this guy goes into a long tangent about a rewrite for Charles. While rewrites aren't inherently bad, this guy does not tie these rewrites back into a point about the character in question, and get fanfiction-y at points. I won't be showing them to save time. Gilead finally stood up for Rio. Even though to her knowledge, Rio's either dead or is very much injured, seeing as he fell from a cliff. Oh, you know, if you want to ignore the scene where Rio literally came back and saved Flora. And Flora literally saw Rio, so I don't know what you're going on about Flora thinking Rio may be dead or injured. Even then, the effort... No one needed to know that you were making this section at the video at 4:13, and that your phone was at 16% while this was done. But seriously, crop this stuff out. Like, it just makes the video look weird. Of that was wasted when we cut back to the academy scene, where they are literally overlooking the princess's word, not even saying why. First off, to our knowledge, the royal family is not constitutional, so they probably have the power of any royal family in a story, but the story itself never actually gave us a reason otherwise, so okay. You'd think they would listen right away to the princess's word, but the story never actually gave us a reason why they didn't. Look, I get if they actually listened to Flora that the plot would not have advanced. First off, I don't know if it's your audio, but it makes it sound like you said the Flora and not just Flora. Also, you kind of repeated yourself because after you explained that the story made it kind of clear that the royal family had some type of power, you then said again that you didn't get why you didn't listen to Flora or the princess. Still, realistically, why didn't they just say Flora lost her footing and let that be the end of it, and then satisfy both parties instead of not taking one party's word into account, then bringing a solution that wouldn't satisfy both? I know y'all are probably tired of me nitpicking production, but still, why are you using 2 scenes and yet still using the floor with the white box? Good thing you have an X over it. You should not be using the floor with the white box. Let's fight both. Anyways, getting back on track, they built up Flora standing up for Rio throughout the entire episode, Yet, they essentially invalidated it at the last minute. I feel there should be more moments where Flora stands up for Rio. Because if Rio really needs to become a criminal, then I feel like they should not invalidate Flora's big moment near the end of the arc. Because Flora is introverted and is not how you spell introverted, this is. Also, you have to love the fact that he shrunk this box for this one part, and yet for the rest of the video, and before this, it's just Black Void. Introverted and shy, in contrast to his sister, who was extroverted and confident. Of course, this is a twins are opposite thing, but those negative traits of Flora was overcome for Rio's sake, which made the scene even better for her. Like, let's say there are more scenes where Flora tries to stand up to Rio, and then hey, stop accusing Rio. And while yes, I get this could just be for a joke, it looks more like a mistyping than an actual joke. Stand up to Rio, and then sometimes Christina would stop Flora saying that they're royalty. In an attempt to stop her, then Flora will get a little frustrated. This will not only make Flora look less like a damsel like the original scene intended to, this also will not devalue Flora's development from the original scene. Okay, but that's what literally happens in the anime. You literally showed a picture of that happening from the anime. And I get it, you want more of these types of moments, but from how you said it, you made it sound like the anime didn't do this whatsoever.
Speaking of reunions, how would you like to test out my girl power?
Oh no, it's Baby Spice, my least favorite Spice Girl. The horror, the unfabulousness.
Rio was betrayed by the guy who killed his mother, as shown in the Yagumo arc, then saw how far his classmates went just to kick him out of the academy, and only ever trusted Celia. Him developing trust issues to new people would only be natural, yet they decided to make a moment of potential character development into telling the audience that Rio had social issues like every other isekai protagonist. Something I would fix about Rio is that we would hear more of his thoughts instead of him always keeping a poker face and not knowing what he's actually feeling. We could hear some inner thoughts about him and how much he wants to cheer out the nobles for picking on him, but know how much trouble it would be and doesn't. Then he could vent about to Cecilia later. This would make Rio feel a lot more human and give Rio some character issues to fix along the way. Because throughout the series, Rio has basically been a Kirito, powerful, a nice guy, and does not have any real character flaws. But Rio... First off, here's the amount of times used a white background alone. I would let out another sigh, but I feel I used up all my passes. Next, why did you explain what a Kirito was, but not what a mine was earlier? Kirito doesn't form a much popular anime, but even then, why didn't you explain what a mine was earlier, but felt you need to explain what a Kirito was? So this is the end of the video. When doing this, I didn't just do this because I was too lazy to remaster the video. I kind of want people to who actually does want to start doing this to learn something, and I feel the main takeaways here is to make sure you rewatch the material to truly gather your thoughts on it and to make sure you don't make any errors about what happened in the story. And overall, just make sure the production's good, because even if you're doing it for fun, it would probably be better to present your thoughts in the best way possible. Anyways, good night, goodbye, and later.